Hello, I'm Louisa Higgins, Arts Administrator for Riverside County, and today I'm joined by Riverside County Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Edwin Gomez.
Well, good morning, Louisa, and it's an honor to be here, and thank you so much for that introduction. And so it's exciting to be here today.
So I have 5 questions for you today that I'd like you to share with our viewers. The first one is, what is the first arts experience that you remember in your young life?
I think my first exposure to art when I was in preschool was creating these little artifacts or these little pieces of art using clay. And I remember making these dinosaurs or alligators, whatever they were. At first you look at it and it's just really a blob of nothing, right? And so after we would create these dinosaurs, I remember that we would take the time to paint them, and when the teacher would bring it back to us a few days later, and you would see these just beautiful creations, it really opened up a door for me that I found art to be a great portal of expression. That was probably the most tangible experience that really resonates with me.
My second question for you is, what is your favorite art form? Which one really speaks to you, and why does it?
For me, I would say music is definitely something that I'm extremely attracted to, and since I can remember, probably predating my preschool years, it is a love and affinity for music. And growing up in a household of diverse ages, I grew up listening to Motown. And this is music from the 60s, and I grew up in the 70s and 80s. And so as I grew older and I started to understand the depth of the lyrics, whether it was romance, whether it was social responsibility, or whether it was just an advocacy song, I really appreciated that art form. And so from a very young age, I also became interested in singing. When people say, that music is in my blood or is in my soul, I can definitely identify with that, because music is passionate. Music is very uplifting. It's something that can change an environment. It can change the mood. It's empowering. It's inspiring. And so for me, music is definitely the art form that I'm most attracted to.
And did I hear you tell me one time that musical theater was part of your background?
I did. I've been in a couple of musicals, and just being a part of that, right? Being
part of the ensemble.
Part of the ensemble, being able to perform in front of an audience, it takes you into a different level of humanity, if I can say it that way. And I think that is the true essence of art, right? Is being able to transpose what is in your psyche, what is in your heart, what is in your mind, and be able to articulate that in an art form that can be liberating, that can be empowering to someone else who is experiencing that with you.
My third question is, why do you value the arts for our students in Riverside County?
I think right now, as we know, the incidence and prevalence of anxiety, of depression, especially during the height of the pandemic, when students were at home and learning from a remote environment, it was very difficult for a lot of kids to express some of those sentiments, to express some of those fears, some of the challenges that they were faced with, the lack of being able to create collegiality with their peers, the socializing aspects of it. What we saw and what we know, and especially you with your background, you know that the arts is a way of being able to release some of those feelings that youngsters are experiencing, and it truly becomes that portal of being able to navigate this and to process it. Art, for me, sometimes is not about the greater audience, but the most important audience is yourself. And so right now, more than ever, I think that there needs to be an emphasis placed on art, and the work that we're doing through the county and the work that you're doing in your position in highlighting the value of art in schools, I think is very powerful. And I think that it can be liberating, and I think that it really helps kids go through this trauma that they're experiencing today.
Giving them an outlet to perform, to share, to write, to sing, all of that has been so incredible at the county level. Number 4, how are you making a place for the arts in your sphere of influence in Riverside County?
That's a wonderful question, Louisa, and I think it starts with us promoting arts, and we try to do that with as many pieces of communication that we can. Every year we have a State of Education ceremony. I think that is a wonderful opportunity to showcase the talent and the giftings of our students, but it's also an opportunity to reinforce the idea that the arts are extremely important in Riverside County. I think it's also important as leaders, right? And you're a leader and I'm a leader, to be visible in activities that involve the promotion of art, being able to go to museums, being able to go to art exhibitions. Within our county, there's a possibility that we're raising a generation of the next artists, musicians, people that will change the world through their art form.
Well, certainly in education, we never see the full mark of what our actions mean until much further down the line. But I think it's really interesting, too, how in your role, we have really put a premium on access and equity in the arts. So nothing that we offer that's an arts occasion has any cost associated to it. There's always so much talent, but it's our job to provide opportunity. My last question for you, Dr. Gomez, is what advice would you give to an aspiring leader? So someone who's up and coming, whether it's a site level, district, county, or arts organization, what advice would you give them about building a program in arts education?
I would say that any great endeavor, anything that's worth your time, your energy, your advocacy should be done with partnerships. It should be done in collaboration with other entities such as museums, with galleries. It should be done with artists in the community. It should be done with experts like yourself that can really spearhead and be strategic as we move forward in the areas of the arts. We've created strong partnerships.
Right.
And libraries and I'm thinking of nonprofit organizations as well. And so I think really value the importance of partnerships. Also the funding part is extremely important, which is why we funded a full-time position for us to really prioritize the arts in our county. I believe that anything is possible. I think that there is an incredible opportunity to really reach thousands of children and to engage them into school, because sometimes algebra is not enough.
No,
sometimes
engagement is key.
Social studies is not enough, but when you incorporate the arts into the elementary schools, the middle schools, and the high schools, it just creates an environment where kids want to be in school. And that's ultimately the objective. We want kids to thrive, and we want them to maximize their potential in this area.
Well, those are my 5 questions, sir. Thank you very much for your time.
And thank you, Louisa, for once again for the great work that you're doing. And it's been an honor to spend some time talking about arts this morning.
Thank you for watching this Take 5 interview with Dr. Edwin Gomez, Riverside County Superintendent of Schools.